In the stillness of the early morning, the forest was waking slowly, the mist clinging to the ground like a soft veil. A person stood beneath the outstretched limbs of an old oak, their breath mingling with the cool air as they watched, motionless, at the edge of a clearing. Across the field, a group of deer grazed, their gentle movements serene and unhurried. The person had come to the woods for solace, seeking answers that seemed to drift just beyond reach, elusive like a breeze that slips through your fingers. The weight of decisions, the noise of life outside the forest, had grown too loud. Here, in the quiet of the trees, they had hoped to find a sense of clarity. Instead, they found the deer. There were 5 of them, a small herd, a mother and her fawns perhaps, or simply companions traveling together. The largest among them raised its head, ears twitching, but sensing no danger, it resumed grazing, plucking the tender shoots of grass from the earth. The others followed suit, dipping their heads in unison, as if in silent agreement that all was well. As the person watched, they noticed something in the deer's movements, a kind of rhythm, a dance between awareness and ease. The deer moved with a natural grace, alert but not fearful, their large dark eyes scanning their surroundings, but never lingering on the shadows. They trusted in the present moment, sensing when to be still and when to move. The person could see this trust, the way the deer allowed themselves to be part of the forest, blending in, belonging. It dawned on them that the deer lived without striving, without overthinking. There was no rush, no burden of worry pulling them from their purpose. They did not question where the next meal would come from or what path to take. They simply existed, moving through life with an acceptance that each moment would unfold as it should. There was no need for more than this. For the comfort of the herd, the softness of the grass, the protection of the trees. The person felt a wave of calm settle over them, as if the forest itself were offering a lesson. Watching the deer, they realized that they had been carrying too much, too many questions, too many doubts. Life, like the woods, had its own rhythm, its own seasons of growth, rest, and renewal. There was no need to push, no need to rush toward answers. The deer lived by instinct, trusting in what the earth provided and in the company of one another. Perhaps they thought they could do the same. They found themselves breathing more deeply, feeling the solid earth beneath their feet, the gentle rustling of leaves overhead. The quiet presence of the deer reminded them that peace didn't come from solving every problem or knowing every outcome, but from learning to move with the flow of life. Like the deer, they too could learn when to pause and when to take a step forward. The largest deer lifted its head again, its deep brown eyes meeting theirs across the clearing. For a moment, it seemed as though they shared a silent understanding. 2 beings in the forest, living different lives but connected by the same ancient wisdom of the wild. The deer blinked, then turned, leading the herd back into the trees. The fawns followed close behind, their small forms disappearing into the underbrush. The clearing was empty now, but the person felt no sense of loss. Instead, they felt a sense of lightness, as if something unspoken had been resolved. They would return to the world outside the woods soon enough, but for now they lingered a little longer, letting the lesson of the deer settle into their bones. Life was not something to be conquered or tamed. It was something to be lived, with trust, patience, and grace. And just like the deer, they would find their way, step by step, moment by moment,